Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Schultz. I am going to be your physics teacher for this year. I just thought I would record a quick message here to kind of introduce myself and to get you guys familiar with what's going to be going on this year in physics. And hopefully to give you some information that'll help to clarify any of your concerns or any of your issues here as we start the school year. As you know from my welcome letter earlier, I've been teaching for quite a long time, about 15 years. Teaching everything from 7th grade all the way up to you guys up here in the senior year with physics. But I kind of enjoy chemistry and physics the most since those are the areas I have the most interest in. And so I'm really looking forward to spending time with you this year and getting the opportunity to work with you and evaluate where you're at and hopefully be able to move you to where you want to be as far as your scientific understanding. Just a few notes here in the beginning of the year about a few things you want to know. You'll notice as I set up your classes, I've set up the due dates so that you have a unit due date rather than necessarily a due date for every single assignment. Every assignment has that final end unit due date. I do that in part because I know you guys all have different schedules. You have different days off the school year. You might be going on vacation or have to be away for a game or a trip or something. And since I have several of you from different schools, it's really, really hard for me to keep track of all of that. So rather than try to do that through the master class, I'm going to let you guys have some flexibility as far as when you turn things in, when you get them done, and so on and so forth. A couple things to keep in mind with that, however, is that you absolutely do not want to wait until the final day of the unit to turn everything in for several reasons. Number one, that makes life very difficult for me, and it is a really bad policy to make life difficult for the person grading your work. But aside from that, if you're having trouble in the unit and you're not asking help as we go along, and if you're not working on the assignments as we're going along, what will happen then is you will find that if you're trying to do it all at the end, you get stuck somewhere and you can't get unstuck, and then everybody's kind of stuck in different places, and I won't have the time to be able to help everybody get unstuck and be able to still get things finished in a timely manner. And so I don't want that to happen. I don't want to have a situation where you guys kind of put stuff off to the last week and then suddenly there's this huge flood of everybody trying to get everything done and everybody's got questions. And it really makes it hard for me to be able to help people in a timely fashion. It also makes it harder for your conversations and your discussions within the forums because you don't really have the background information. It also makes it harder for you to complete the assignments in a timely fashion, so on and so forth. There's a whole bunch of things going on there. It's also educationally not a good idea because as you'll find as you're going through the class that oftentimes, especially with the more advanced concepts, sometimes you just have to sit with it for a little while. You don't feel like you really got it gelled in your mind. You're really not quite certain of what's going on. But you can't really pinpoint where the problem is, so you can't really call and be like, hey, I need help on these types of problems, or I don't really understand this situation. It's just not very clear. I had that a lot when I was going through my physics classes, where I just kind of needed to sit with the information for a couple of days and then let my brain kind of process. And then as it processed, I discovered, oh, I know a lot more of this than I thought I did. And then I can pinpoint more accurately where my misunderstandings were, or if there even were any. Oftentimes I didn't have any misunderstandings. I just didn't feel really certain on the material. And so you want to give yourself that buffer to really absorb and understand and have the opportunity to kind of sit and stew in it. My professors always called it stewing in the information. You have to sit and stew in it for a little while and then come back to it and see, hey, this makes a lot more sense to me now. Same thing with a lot of my explanations. If you do ask me for help, I'm more than happy to help. I want to help. And I'll try to explain it as many different ways as I know how. But there might come a point where I'm like, okay, you just need to kind of sit with this for a little while. And that's what I'm talking about. It's just sitting with it, being in the discomfort for a little bit, and then letting it kind of work itself out. And I wish that there was a less nebulous way to describe that, but that's really what sometimes what needs to happen. You'll find the same thing in math sometimes too, where you just kind of have to sit with the concept and let your brain work on it for a little while, and then come back to it, and it'll suddenly make a lot more sense. The old expression, let's sleep on it, that's a lot of what's happening there, is you're just letting your brain work. So if you end up putting everything off to the very end, you won't give yourself that opportunity and you'll have, difficulties that are just unnecessary, simply because of the scheduling issue. So I do encourage you to turn things in throughout the unit. Maybe look at the number of days that you've got before the due date, take the number of assignments and divide the two. You'll notice that certain units are much shorter than others, certain units are much longer. We tried to make the due dates reflect that as much as possible. Although once again, if you've got like events happening at your school, you need to take that into account because we don't know anything about that. So, like I tried not to make anything due over Thanksgiving or something like that. But, if you find yourself, with a lot of trips and a lot of things you have to go and do, you might find yourself having to work over weekends or work over holidays, which isn't really ideal. But that may be what you find yourself having to do. And you know that better than anybody, what's going to be happening with your schedule. My schedule is going to look like this. I work for a different online school in the mornings, and then I'm going to be available to you. I'm going to open the Zoom room at about 1:30. I have a 2-year-old that I have to put down for nap, so it'll be somewhere in that 1:15 to 1:30 range. And if I'm not there yet, please be patient. I will probably get it open. I just might be having to get him down for nap, so please pardon me if I'm a little bit late. And then I'm going to leave it open until 3:30 or so. And then you guys can come and go as you wish through the Zoom room to ask questions, to go over anything like that. I do also have some chemistry students that might be joining us from time to time to do the same thing, to ask questions, get academic support, that kind of thing. If that time frame does not work for you because you have something else scheduled during that time, I understand. That does happen. What you want to do then is you want to let me know as soon as possible. One of your assignments is to make a plan for what you need, when you're going to be working. And I'm trying to keep track of when everybody's available to work so that I can kind of keep a track on things and make sure that you guys are getting the time that you need allocated to the class. But if you can't do it through my normal Zoom hours, that's fine. But then, you'll need to let me know, and then we can schedule something in the evenings. But I need at least 24 hours in order to get that scheduled because of daycare obligations and things like that. I have a lot of other, irons in the fire, so to speak, so I have to kind of jiggle things around a little bit. That doesn't mean I'm not willing to do it. I just need a little bit more leeway. So please do not send me an email on Tuesday night when you have planned to take a test on Wednesday with a bunch of questions and be like, I need to do a Zoom and I need to do it right now, or I need to do it Wednesday morning. Not because I don't want to, but just because oftentimes I'm not going to be able to. So please do try to take that into account. And I'll try to take into account your schedules as much as possible so that way we're able to connect as much as we can. I am going to have some live classes periodically about content, going over any questions. We'll probably have some discussions. I know we're going to have an introductory class here. All of that information as far as times and when that's going to happen and so on and so forth, I'm going to put that into the class announcements. So do keep an eye on those. Make sure that you subscribe to those so that you can get information on when those classes are going to be held. Since all of you are on a pretty similar schedule, you'll find that it's actually going to be really to your benefit to attend those classes, because what tends to happen is I tend to get questions from a variety of people, and then I'm seeing, okay, these are the types of things people are struggling with, and therefore this is the type of class I need to hold. So it'll be very, very pertinent to what you're working on right now. So you do want to keep an eye on that class news and announcements, and I'll post all of the information there for any classes that I'm going to hold live. And if you can't attend a live class, I'm also going to try and make sure to record those so that I can send you that information if you aren't able to attend the class for whatever reason. But if you want that information, but you weren't able to attend the class, you do need to let me know. Otherwise, I won't know to send it to you. So email is the best way to get a hold of me. You can call me on my phone. I may or may not answer, depending on what's going on. I don't do text very much, which I know makes me relic, but I don't text. I don't have a texting plan on my phone, so I can get texts from you guys, but I can't really text back very easily. And so I don't tend to do that very much. If you want to text me, that's fine, but then expect that I will email you back at your email address to make sure that we're getting connected and getting everything taken care of that needs to be taken care of. Otherwise, yeah, your coach is here to help you. I'm here to help you. And any help that you do need, please just let me know. If you do not ask, you cannot receive. So it is not, if I'm seeming less than helpful, it's simply because I probably don't know that you need help. And I'm going to try and keep on top of things as best I can, to keep track of making sure that you're working, making sure that you're moving forward, meeting deadlines, and so on and so forth. But you guys are seniors. And so I don't do a lot of hand holding. And that might be something that you're not as used to, because in a face-to-face school, there's a lot more day-to-day interaction. Did you hand in that assignment? Did you hand in that assignment? And I'm not going to be that way. I'm not going to remind you about your assignments. I'm not going to say anything. I might make a comment during an online class or something about, hey, look, the deadline's coming up for the unit. Make sure that you're getting your work in. But I'm not going to track anybody down in particular unless it becomes a real problem. And then I will track you down. But then that's, you don't want to hear from me in that circumstance, because then we're starting to have a problem. So all of my other policies and all of my other concerns are covered in my syllabus. So please make sure that you peruse that you take a look at that you go over it, so that you're familiar not just with the due dates, but with the grading scale, my late work policy, anything like that. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, please email me or come to my Zoom, and I would be happy to go over it with you. We're hoping to make this as a wonderful a year and wonderful experience as we possibly can. And I really want this to be more of a collaboration than necessarily me telling you what to do all of the time. But I do need to keep everybody accountable. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page as far as, understanding what the kind of the rules and the setups are. And if you find that you're running into problems technically or anything like that, I can help with some of that also. So please don't hesitate to ask me. And then if I don't know what to do, then I can send you on to the person that you need, that can help you with what you're running into. So once again, I'm happy to have you here with me this year. I'm excited to work with you guys. I think we're going to have a great time. I think we're going to have a great year. Please let me know if you have any questions or any concerns, and I will be absolutely pleased as punch to help you out. And I just really, I'm looking forward to working with you guys this year. All right. Thanks for watching.